Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and villagers of all ages, welcome to another episode of AV Mount Rushmore. I'm here with Owen, Big O Pluff. Owen, what's going on, brother?
Not much, man. Just chilling. Life's pretty good.
Chilling. I see. What cabin you at? Are you in Unit 3, man?
I believe so. I believe this is cabin 36 and 37. It just kind of flipped,
beautiful.
but
Legendary cabins for sure. I'm actually
great
at the
cabins.
arch right now where we have the legendary jersey number of Father Anthony Yagi's It's hanging up in the rafters. Of course, there's no surprises there. We all want to wish him, a happy move to Indianapolis as he starts his time as the parish priest in, I don't know what church it is, but he is in Indiana. So they're very lucky to have him. We're going to miss him dearly, but always praying for him. But today, Owen, we got a special episode. We
Absolutely.
kind of run through some of the normal programs. So this time we're going off the beaten path with cabin time activities.
What a great topic.
Of course. And given that we are two males, we don't know some of the female perspectives that come with cabin time. And we wanted to bring two special females from AV staff on that talk about what they do at cabin time. So without any further ado, let me get into some introductions. First, the only AV staff member to ever star in a Pixar film and be fluent in English, Spanish, and humpback whale. It's Kat CB's Beasley.
Welcome.
What's up, Kat?
That was an incredible introduction. Hi, everybody.
I'm glad you liked it.
That was amazing.
Okay, next up, she is our second oldest guest to ever join the AV Mount Rushmore pod. She's almost as old as Jiddo Eli Maluhi. She's known as Teta by AV staff members, and she's bringing the heat from South Florida. It's Taylor Teta Zeno. What's going on, Taylor?
What's good, my God? I brought in my gold confetti for y'all.
Oh, awesome. Good. I'm glad you're celebrating the right way to be on your first time on the AV pod.
So blessed to be here.
Okay, guys. So, we're really happy to have you. Obviously, we already mentioned we're going to be talking about cabin time activities. Owen, why don't you run through the list or just give us kind of a rundown of what cabin time is and when it happens during the day at camp and, what are some things that we might do during the cabin time before we get into the AV draft?
Absolutely. So, as Alex just said, we are doing cabin times for our topic. This can be either the morning cabin time, which is in between morning program and lunch. This could be your 4:30 cabin time after gimme shop and before Vespers, or this could be your cabin time after evening program before you guys go to bed. These are our kind of top lists that we created for you guys to vote off of. I'll just run through them real fast. We have napping, playing cards, mafia, can jam / frisbee, writing your serenade night song, which I know I've done multiple times, chilling on the porch, having to clean because you got a bad cabin score, which I have also done multiple times, writing a letter, dressing up for evening program, having a conversation or talking about life, reading, playing football, making friendship bracelets, gimp, prayer rope, riddles and games, playing guitar and singing, playing tag, talk with a priest or a seminarian, a chess tournament, shout out Joe Nick, playing Foursquare, and I think AV ball might round out that list.
Nice. A lot of good options, fun things to do. And as always, we're going to be doing our Serpentine draft format. And we do always let our guests pick first. But since we have two, we decided to go with age today. So our fabulous guest, Taylor Zeno, will be having the first pick, followed by Kat Beasley. Then myself, I'll be taking the third pick, and Owen will be taking the fourth pick. And then obviously it'll be flipped for the next round and so on and so forth. So, Taylor, you are on the clock for your first pick in the cabin time draft.
Right. Age before beauty. Right, Kat?
Age before beauty. Yeah.
All right. So this one might be low-key controversial, but I'm going to take it extremely personal here and say that napping is going to be my number one pick because it was critical, especially as a counselor, for survival over the summer. And even as a camper, there was just some days where I'm like, hey, I need a minute to just rest. Can we just, if you guys need to chill, go outside. Like, I'm going to hang out here and just take a 30-minute nap. It saved my life. And, you wake up and you're feeling those good endorphins after taking your napping. I'm going to claim that. Number one.
That was my number one pick. I'm kind of mad.
Hey, great minds think alike,
Yeah, I mean, you might say great minds think alike. I don't know if I agree with that take. I mean, we're at camp to hang out, have some fun. Sleeping is essential, of course, but cabin time, I'm trying to have some fun, go outside, explore the village, napping. I mean, that's a little bit of a high pick.
I'm specifically thinking 4:30 cabin time because, if I can take my nap at 4:30, that means that I can hang out maybe a little bit later in the evening with my gal pals,
Oh, of course. And it's definitely essential to be well rested before you carve up the dance floor evening program.
Exactly.
That's true.
Okay.
I personally am probably a little bit more of a PLM guy, but that's just me.
Can't go wrong with a post-liturgical nap, of course.
Every time.
Okay, so that's the first pick. Napping is off the board. On to Kat for the number 2 pick.
All right. My first pick, napping is up there, but my first pick is definitely having conversations and kind of getting to know each other. As a camper, this was huge for me with getting to know my counselors, but then also as a counselor, getting to know my campers was just huge. And especially whenever, during those 4:30 cabin times or stuff like that, I could literally just sit down and talk with my campers, and it was so fun. And I got to know most of them through those cabin times. So
Definitely, cabin time is a great time for a one-on-one with a counselor. That's something that I always enjoyed being able to do with some of my counselors and my campers. And cabin time is that nice chunk of time that you kind of aren't really doing anything specific. So definitely a good time to have a conversation about life and just, get to know everyone for sure. Okay, third pick now. I have a few options. You guys left a lot of good ones that I'm a big fan of on the board. You left the Mafia, riddles, of course, just hanging out on the porch, which is, I guess, similar to talking. But I think I might have to go off the board for my first pick. This is going to be a little controversial, but one of my favorite things to do in the cabin, and this maybe isn't exactly cabin time, but it really is on arrival day when we get back to the cabin, or I guess it's at nighttime, or it could be during the afternoon. It kind of depends on how the day goes, is you create your full value contract. And that's something that I really love to do because on the first day, everyone gets back to the cabin and you see all the faces that you've been hoping to see for over a year now. And that's when you guys kind of sit down, you decide what is going to be, how the session is going to go essentially. And for me, as both a camper and a counselor, it's something that I love to get creative with. Owen, of course, we called ourselves Chalet 3, which Chalet 3 does exist.
Chalet 3 is not a real thing.
And our full value contract was our flag. So we would have our flag that represented, brotherhood
Again,
for us.
Chalet 3 is not a real thing.
Well, it is a real
Boy's
thing.
Dream.
Yeah, let us have our dream, okay? So we had our flag. It represented brotherhood, respect, all the things that we wanted to accomplish, and just, kind of our expectations for the rest of the session. And then as a counselor, it was something I love to do. Shout out to my session 2 boys. We had Play from Ed and Eddie. He was another cabin mate, but he also served as our full value contract. In session 1, we found a toilet seat that was not used. Of course, I bleached it down. I did bleach it down multiple times. I painted it green, and then we used it. We called it the Falcon Throne. That was in cabin 32. So that was another good one that I did. And in session 4, we had a pink cowboy hat. So always, it could be a piece of paper, it could be a cowboy hat, it could be whatever you want. But definitely, camp is always a place that we should, feel free to get creative with.
Yeah, I respect that decision so much. And I'm curious to hear, what is everyone's favorite full value contract?
Great question.
my favorite one that I made with my campers was this past summer I brought a big plastic owl, and I had all my boys write write what they wanted to have for that session on a piece of paper, and we stuffed it up inside and corked it, and wrote like a bunch of good attributes on the cork, and that kind of stopped all it held all the good things inside of that owl. So
That's awesome. Talking about creativity, man, Owen. That's beautiful.
shout out Reginald.
Reginald the Owl. What about you, Kat?
Mine would probably be I got a bunch of like old records that each of my girls got one, and so we all wrote kind of what we wanted the 2 weeks to be, and they all got to keep it, and so it was a full value contract that they all got to take home and keep with them.
That is awesome. Great way to take camp home. Taylor, do you have any that stick out in your mind?
Yeah, well, when I was a camper, I remember that there was this cabin that had an entire bench as their full value.
The bench warmers.
Contract. Yeah, they would carry it around. But personally, as a counselor, my favorite moment of creativity was when we had a Hello Kitty lunchbox. We would carry it around, and throughout the 2 weeks, if somebody noticed something that they loved or like appreciated about, someone else in the cabin, they would write it down and put it inside the lunchbox, and we close it. And then at the end of the 2 weeks, we just kind of sat in a circle and like read out everything that everyone wrote about each other, and it was really sweet.
I love that.
That is nice. That is super sweet. Yeah. Kudos to you, Taylor. Okay, on to the number 4 pick.
Out there.
Owen,
Okay.
you got back-to-back picks, so we have round 1 pick, and then you have your round 2 pick.
All right. Well, my number 1 pick is already gone with napping. I think the full value contract was a great pick, Alex. That's a good off-the-board take.
Thank you, Owen. I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah. No problem. My number 4 pick is going to be similar to Kat's. I'm going to go with chilling on the front porch of your cabin. So as a guy, we got to have the opportunity to be on the back porch at 48 a bunch. And that's like one of my favorite times at camp, just being able to chill and just talk and like hang out it's a small, intimate kind of space. And it's just so much fun. Like, yeah,
the memories there are
absolutely
endless.
I think we just shared a photo in our group chat from our cabin of 48, which I believe we took the first day before our phones were confiscated.
Yes, before the phones were taken away.
Yeah, and that's like a legendary photo of just us hanging out on the back porch. So
yeah, it is funny. I think it was my brother John. You guys know John. John sent it to us. It was like one of those Snapchat memories. So it was like 4 years ago. Like today, or I guess this was a few days ago, and it was like us looking super young. We were all 16, hanging out on the back porch of 48. But yeah, back porch of 48, or the front porches of any other cabins. Always a great time to just hang out and have some fun during cabin time.
Did you guys ever choose sunflower seeds?
Never.
Never.
We did not do that.
that is illegal at camp.
Yeah, it's illegal. No sunflower seeds.
Trying to get.
Okay. Next up, Owen.
Back to back. All right. I'm gonna take
pick.
my number 2 pick here, and I'm gonna have to go with Can Jam.
Ooh, Can Jam.
For those of you guys
Can Jam king.
I am the Can Jam king. I love Can Jam. Like, I'm addicted to it. I believe one of the years, so me, Alex, and John were not always in the same cabin. We were split up sometimes. I believe 2015 we were split up. I was in 45 and you guys were in 44. Yeah. And someone brought a Can Jam set, and we used to play in between our cabins with both doors open.
Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that.
Amazing experience. we had tourneys on tourneys.
Dude, I forgot. That was legendary. Yeah. Literally, we opened the doors up, and then it was literally like the perfect, amount of room in between the two cabins to play Can Jam. It was super narrow too.
So
That's honestly genius to have. Like, includes everybody, and then also just like a great pastime.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, And
We'll
that's
have
the thing about
to,
Can Jam too.
we'll
Oh, what
have
are you
to
saying?
petition to get that for every cabin.
Yes, yes. Take it out of the it takes a village budget at buy some more Can Jams. But yeah, and it's also that's a super fun game to watch too. Like not every game can be fun to watch. Like some things maybe if it's like chess, it might be slower, or just watching someone like throw a football not as fun. But Can Jam I think is a super fun thing to watch other people play.
Agreed.
Okay, now back to me. I got another pick. Cool. So this is one I'm surprised this has fallen to me. I mentioned it before. This is like to me the legendary like cabin time thing to do. Like and it's Mafia. Mafia is a classic camp game. I remember the first time I played, it's probably around the time I was probably 14, which that might be even late. I feel like people play even younger, but I was 14 and we were hanging out in the cabin and our counselor introduced us to it. I'd never played before. And Mafia is just a great time, even though, people become so passionate and maybe arguing against each other or accusing others of being the Mafia. It actually does, although it seems that it wouldn't contribute to, fellowship, it does contribute to unity and fellowship. It brings the cabin together because it allows people to kind of express themselves in a way that you're not always able to do in like the typical just hanging out type of like way. So, yeah.
No, I love that. It's so fun, like being the narrator and knowing what's going on and watching like everyone turn against each other.
Yes.
One of the best games.
For sure. That reminds me, actually, the narrator. I think one year, Owen, we were playing Mafia. I don't know if you were there, and the narrator made themselves the Mafia. So by
I think
the
it was
end
on
of
our
the game,
overnight.
I don't know if it was, yeah, maybe it was on the overnight. But by the end of the game, everyone's yelling at each other like, "It's definitely you!" And I was actually one of the last people, and I knew I'm like, okay, it has to be this person. Like I know I'm not the Mafia, so it must be the person sitting across from me. And we end up losing the game, and I'm like, all right, who was the Mafia? And the narrator was like, it was me, which is like totally cheating, of course.
I
But
feel like that's not fair.
yeah, definitely not fair. It was a little bit of a practical joke, but I was
I
not happy
think
about
that's out
that.
of the box for you, though.
Yeah, a little bit outside of the box. We love creativity.
It's awesome.
Okay, on to you, Kat.
Okay, my next one is playing cards. This is actually something that probably almost every single one of my cabins did. But I always had a box of cards with me, and so we always played that. And then my first session, shout out to my girls, one of them brought like this ginormous like set of cards where like
Wow.
each card was like a foot
What?
long. They were huge. And so that's what we played cards with. And so it's always just like been one of my favorite memories. And like it just, you all sit around in a circle and have fun with each other. It's a good time.
And you play with those massive cards. How did you shuffle them?
I don't think it got shuffled very well. I think we did the like place it on the ground and like mix it up and pretend like it gets shuffled. So yeah.
Yeah.
Just don't play Go Fish with it and it's fine.
What card games specifically would you play?
With those cards?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. I honestly don't remember what it was. It was definitely like a game where you can, maybe it was War. I don't know. It was definitely a game where you don't have to like flip the cards super fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it wasn't like what is that game called? Like it wasn't like
ERS. Oh,
yeah,
I can't imagine playing ERS with those big cards. I'm so bad at it. Grabbing the big cards. I'm sure they would probably get ripped or something if you try to play ERS
absolutely.
with those cards.
We did have some awesome tournaments of ERS though with the smaller cards.
That is the thing about like when I'm at camp is like I play cards way more than I do during the year, but I also learn like a ton of random games that like I never would have known otherwise. So super fun.
Which is fun. Like you can bring them home.
Oh, of course. Taylor, back to the first person in the draft. What are you gonna do next?
All right, I am so glad that none of y'all chose this because I think I speak for every single female camper when I say that dressing up for evening program is so high up there on the list because, you know, girls love styling themselves and dressing up and looking all cute. And especially when evening program brings campers some of the best memories, dressing up for it is just so fun. And, you know, when you're packing your suitcase and you know that, oh, all right, I've got Decades Dance and Western Night, and I'm gonna pack all this stuff and make sure I have all my, you know, my cowboy hats and my, you know, floral T-shirt for all the different dances. It's so fun, and honestly, it's definitely what everyone does during 4:30 cabin time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's my number 2 pick.
Good. That's a good pick.
I have a memory of like, if you guys know Sarah Musa, I think most everybody does.
Yeah, we know her.
Yeah. So my first year at camp, I like didn't know evening programs were a thing and like brought almost nothing for it. And of course it's 4th session, halfway night, and like I own nothing for this night. And Sarah Musa like dressed me up in her clothes. So I'm with you, Taylor. That's an awesome one.
Right, like running to everyone's cabins, like, hey, who has pink socks? Like, I need them now for blacklight.
Campers go everywhere. Like, you can look outside the doors and just see masses of them running around.
And everyone just like throwing clothes in the unit.
It's a good thing we don't do cabin checks after that.
Right. Always so jealous of the guys who would just show up with whatever they wore for
afternoon program.
Yeah, y'all suck.
well, I think that is the fun. It's funny because with girl cabins, sometimes when you're standing in church and you see them file in, you know, Western night, they're all wearing their braids and they have their flannels, and then you see the guys' cabins. It's like maybe one guy has like a bandana, but then some of the other ones are just wearing like the same sweaty clothes they just wore. But yeah. Dressing up, it is definitely an essential thing to do and lots of fun when you get to do it for evening programs. So that's another good pick off the board. Back to, I believe we are now in round 3. Taylor, you have the first pick. So.
Oh, the pressure. Okay. All right. So again, I'm going to go a little personal with this one. You know, being a very musical person and also extremely competitive when it comes to serenade night, I'm going to choose writing serenade song. And, you know, some of the best songs and the most memorable songs I've had have been when everyone's just kind of taken that time to sit down during cabin time and just focus and, you know, be one big collective and write an awesome song. Yeah, definitely my number 3 pick, writing a serenade song.
Wow, we kind of let that one slip. That's definitely a good one in the 3rd round. Now it's finally off the board.
As a camper, I don't think any of my cabins were cohesive in like I think it was always just like 2 people writing the serenade songs, the rest of us just singing it out.
You like pick the few kids who have the talent.
Like, oh, you guys can do it. We'll go do something else.
I would always like try to like kind of make that time, especially as a counselor, because I was so competitive when it came to it. And I was like, all right, guys, you know, we're going to plan at least 2 cabin times where we're going to sit down, write this song, because it always turns out so much better instead of writing it last minute, you know, same day.
I remember that whenever I was your CIT, you like definitely had it planned out to where like, it was like, we're going to be working on our song during this time.
That sounds like a good idea. I should probably try to implement that.
Get it a little. Start planning it out a few cabin times ahead, rather than the last one. Scrambling at the last minute. Yeah.
I think everyone has that intention. Like I had that intention almost every single session.
You really do.
I don't think I did.
The intentions do matter. You know, sometimes the execution doesn't always go to plan, but
it's a thought that counts.
Exactly. There you go. Okay, Kat, you're up next.
Another one. Okay, my next one is, I'm actually surprised this one hasn't been picked yet, because this is, I think pretty much both female and male cabins. It's Foursquare. That was like the best
great pick.
Cabin. Like you tape down your sides, whatever it's called, and you just play Foursquare. Like it's so fun. And you don't have to end it during afternoon program. You can bring it into the cabin, have a blast. Everybody gets involved because it's a fun, easy one that rotates. It's great.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Foursquare is probably last week or a few weeks ago, we did our afternoon program draft, and Foursquare is my first pick. And definitely, it's always a fun thing to play in the cabin because it's very different than playing, in the pavilion because you're surrounded by bunk beds and the squares are smaller. So if someone really slams you, like there's almost no way you can get
You're
it.
gone. Yeah.
Most bunks are in.
Unless bunks are in. That is a.
I play bunks are in.
Oh wow!
Oh,
I've
I
never
heard
played with that
unless
rule set.
bunks are red. I was like, what?
No, bunks are
color
in
red.
now.
And it's also a very fun experience to play with just your cabin.
Yes.
Because when you play afternoon program, it's various other campers, but when it's just you and your cabin, you guys get so competitive.
Oh yeah, those internal cabin rivalries, or sometimes you go next door to the other cabin and see who's the best.
Right.
Yeah.
Those will get you.
Oh yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah, definitely
All right,
great choice.
Alex.
I probably would have picked that if you hadn't taken it off the board, but I'm gonna go with something. Yeah, you know what? Great pick. I'm gonna go with riddles. So this one is a pretty broad pick. There's so many different types of riddles. The first person I'm thinking of when I actually think of riddles is Mike Nunu. Shout out Mike Nunu. This dude has you just go up to him and ask him for a riddle. He'll give you 10, and they're so good. So just by the time I know a lot of cabin times I've spent with him just sitting, and he'll give us those riddles, and I'll spend so long. It'll take to the end of the session to get it, and once you finally get it, of course, it's a lot of fun. But a couple of my favorite ones are Black Magic, of course. The Magic number 4 is a good one, and of course, snaps. The snap language is a good one too.
Taylor and I have a story about this.
All right. Yeah, I saw you guys laughing when I picked riddles. I was kind of confused.
Our poor so if y'all haven't caught on already, Kat used to be my CIT, and we had 11-year-old campers who were so beautiful and so wonderful. If you guys are listening, we love you and adore you so much.
Thank you so much.
But we used to torture the poor things because we would do these bombers. Right, we would go na 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 na, and we would make sure that they would never make sense, ever. But we would laugh as if they were supposed to be funny, and our campers would just look at us like, "What?" Every time. God. And then we would go into singing we would pretend like we were the Grinch, and they were 11, right? Okay.
Riddle times were our favorites.
and of course, Black Magic, as you mentioned, Alex, was also.
We actually
great
with that one. With that one, we never told them that it wasn't magic.
Right.
Really? So they left camp thinking that you guys really did use Black Magic.
Straight up had telepathy,
which is not good. Should not be what campers go home that their counselors know how to read minds and all of that. But we just forgot.
But it's kind of cool. I mean, when you are on the side of the riddle, the people who know what the riddle is and how the riddle is done, it is a lot of fun because you do feel like you can read minds, and just seeing the awe and shock on people's faces. When when the other person comes into the room and figures out what object you had picked, this is just for Black Magic. It's very funny to see the reactions of people who don't know it.
It's always more fun when you're on the side of the knowing, right?
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's why I'm gonna pick riddles. Shout out Mike Nunu. On to you, Owen.
So that was actually my third pick as well. So
just
I gotta find something else. I'll just bump up my fourth pick. I'm gonna have to go off list with this one. I'm gonna go playing baseball. So something big. Not really when I was a camper, but as a counselor, just hanging out in the units and playing catch is so much fun. It's a great way to have a short kind of conversation, and also it's a good way to kind of spend time during a 4:30 cabin time where it's kind of nice out, and you don't want to get super sweaty because we're about to go to Vespers, but like it's a good way to spend some time and get like a little bit of energy out. So I have to go with that for my third pick, and then my fourth pick because I got back to back.
Hold on, you guys always seem to have toys.
What do you mean?
Like you got Cam Jam, you got
gotta
baseball.
come prepared.
Like where are you getting all of these?
Gotta come prepared, Pat.
It's okay. They don't need as much time for getting ready for evening programs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it
they
takes
have to have things
5
to
minutes max.
entertain them.
We don't always pack our cowboy boots and our tie-dye shirts, but we will have a football. We will maybe have a lacrosse stick every now and then.
The essentials, got it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, what's number 4, Owen?
Number 4. I'm debating whether I go off list again or whether I pick something that's on the list. I'm gonna save my off list for honorable mention.
Cheap, right?
Okay.
My fourth pick is gonna be chess. Big shout out to Joe Nick. I know he kind of got this started, but chess tournaments are intense. They're fun. They're fun to watch. They're fun to play. They're kind of stressful, honestly, but it's a good way to kind of like show like strategy and kind of have like a fun like matchup with another person. So,
Do you guys know like how to actually play chess?
yeah.
Yeah, I dabble.
I will say that it is an extremely controversial pick, even though you are looking at the 4th grade chess champion. However, I can say that as a
wait, for real? I need a fact check.
Yeah.
I need a fact check on that.
Like in elementary school, like you were in the club and like one.
Clock? Sitting with the clock?
Yeah, my guys, come on.
Yeah, my God.
Come on. You know I wouldn't do you dirty like that. So I am going to say, though, as a counselor and a camper, like, throughout all my years, chess has never been a cabin time. So I think that that's such a wonderful thing to start, to add to the cabin times. I think that's so great. And it definitely teaches, like you were saying, strategy. And
Yeah, I'm with you, Taylor. I never actually played it as like a camper or as a CIT or really mostly as a counselor until 4th session last summer. I was in cabin 40. Andrew Hundal was next door in cabin 41. And our boys loved playing chess. And I was never good at chess. I learned how to play. My grandpa taught me, when I was younger. But, of course, I haven't played in many, many years. And I was like, all right, let's see. I'll brush the dust off me, and we'll see if I can play some chess. And these kids mocked me. Like, they beat me in, like, 4 moves. And I was very shocked. I was like, man, these kids are evolving. Like, I just got torn apart.
Yeah.
Wait, how do you guys do it? Like, is it just like one chessboard and everybody's gathered around, or?
Sort of.
Well, the games, they actually can go pretty fast. Sometimes they take longer, but I just know what our kids would do, our campers would do is they would have like write down who had to play who. It was kind of like a tournament, like a bracket, and they got super competitive about it. And whenever they had the chance, that's when like it would be like literally I would wake up, we'd be cleaning the cabin, and 2 kids would be playing chess. We'd get back from OPRO, 2 kids would be playing chess. Like come to the cabin for afternoon or a gimme shop, and kids are playing chess again, of course. So
That's awesome. That's so fun.
yeah, it was really cool.
I don't want to flex too hard, but I did have your boys the year prior, and we were next to Joe Nick, and that's kind of when it all started. So
you know what?
I just want to throw that out there.
You did. I do have to shout you guys out because that does remind me that they did say that you guys did it a lot the previous year. So I forgot about that, Owen. Thank you for reminding me.
No problem.
Okay, you did actually take my pick. I did want to pick chess because I did have a lot of fun playing 4th session last summer. But now I'm going to go with a little throwback. I'm someone who I love music. I love singing. I love Saturday night. I am not very musically talented, though, however. But it is always great when you have either, a counselor in your cabin or someone next door or a camper who knows how to play the guitar. So with my last pick in the in the cabin time activity draft, I'm going to say playing and singing with the guitar. Owen, me and Owen, of course, we've been in as we grew up, we were in a lot of the same cabins. And one of our other cabin mates, Simon Joseph, he always brought a guitar to camp. And it was honestly, at first, he was playing all the time. We were like, man, when is Simon going to stop playing the guitar? Finally, we just accepted it and we started enjoying it. We learned the songs that he was playing. We started singing along with him. And it always comes in handy for serenade night, of course. So as someone who loves music, but even though I'm not the greatest singer, I do love singing and playing and watching people play the guitar during cabin time.
That's an awesome one. I had a couple of kids that were like amazing singers, so we had that. We never had someone bring a guitar, but I will always remember Emily Case with her campers during serenade night, just like all lined up with her on the guitar and all of them just like loving it. And that was probably one of the best serenade nights I've ever seen. And they're all just like so musically talented, all on pitch, all perfectly together. Oh, it was beautiful.
Yeah, I support that decision so much. Again, being like an extremely musical person and having serenade night as, one of my top picks.
Serenade night.
Serenade night. Yee. When I say yee, you say ho. Yee ho. I remember having a camper who played the ukulele, and we would just be like, hey, come on, like, can you play it for us, please? It's just there's just something about it, everyone getting together. And that's why the campfire was so fun too.
Campfire is a blast.
When everyone
Big
just
throwback.
sat around and so great pick.
Yeah, and guitars always just make the serenade song sound way better. Like you could write like an okay song, have okay singers, but you have a guitar playing and like you're in contention. So
yeah. I remember we were same session 3 represent.
Yes,
I remember
session 3
Simon
rep.
with his guitar.
Oh yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, ever since we were really little, he was always playing the guitar. So
And I'm sure you guys remember the Hazursions too, right?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Were they third session?
They were
Yes.
third session, yes, and they always had their guitars.
Group.
Their guitars and their pianos.
Yes.
Very musical session, if I do say so myself.
It really
No,
is.
it really was. It really was.
That's awesome.
Okay, Kat.
More head play oriented than musically talented.
The dancing.
All right, I'm having trouble with this round pick because this is our last one, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm in between two. So I'm gonna say one and then just give a little shout out to the other. If you all
Save it for the honorable mentions.
Yeah, save it for honorable mention. We'll do honorable
we have
mention
that.
right
Okay,
after.
I didn't know
Yes.
that. Okay, sorry. So then my next one is I'm gonna go off the list for this one. But the girls have what's called the chamber. So that one is, I mean, you can go during any cabin time. It's really up to you. But the amount of cabin times I had down there as a camper and as a counselor is just incredible. And I won't go super deep into it just because it is super meaningful to the girls. But it has some of my most favorite memories from it. So that one's fine.
As a counselor, and hopefully like a lot of our listeners will get the opportunity to be on staff, but just writing your name on the wall,
yes,
it's just so empowering. And then having those moments down there with your campers or as a camper, I can definitely testify to the transformative experiences that have happened in the chamber.
It's so cool, like just standing there and looking at all of it and just being like, oh my gosh, we are a part of that. Like,
all the names,
so cool to see.
All the legends on the wall.
Yeah. Love the chamber and all the spiders that come with it.
Awesome. Okay, really good pick, Kat. Now we're on to Taylor for the last pick in the whole draft.
All right, I'm gonna hit you guys with the final pick of the draft, and I think this one is low-key off the grid, but it's also kind of on here as well. But I'm going to go with confession / talking with a priest or a seminarian.
Awesome.
Obviously, cabin time is when confession happens, but I will say that, my most memorable experiences at camp have always been the spiritual ones and the most, transformative ones. And confession is obviously, such an important sacrament
Huge.
of our church. And I don't think that this draft would be complete without it.
I agree with that. I don't think confession gets as much emphasis as it should. And that's on part of me, and that's on a lot of people, but it's such a huge thing of camp that you have how many priests with you that session that you can go to confession with, like at any time, like they're there for you. Mm-hmm. That's absolutely huge and such a cool experience to have, because most of the time if you're at home, you either have one priest, maybe you're somewhere where there's not an Orthodox church, you're not able to go. Like, it's just such a large part of our lives. That's awesome.
Right.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity that we have at the village, because like you were saying, Kat, sometimes you have one priest that you have access to, and maybe you only see them on Sundays, so it's harder to schedule out a time to be able to for them to hear your confession. So that is one of the great things that we do offer at camp, and of course it is always during cabin time.
Right. And I, as a camper, it was so important for me because obviously your priest doesn't tell your parish or your parents, but I was so worried that he would maybe say something to my mother. So being able to have that confidence and that, the priest at camp that I could rely on every year to go to, it was just so encouraging for me, especially in my development in the faith.
No, I mean, that is such a whole different feeling and thinking as a camper, as a kid, like just having someone that doesn't necessarily know your parents. It's just kind of like, oh, I know this is like they're there for you. Like it's just that affirmation.
It was a very safe.
Yeah.
All right, nice list, guys. What's going on? It's John here. Just here to quickly deliver what the poll results, the cabin time activities that you guys voted for this week, the listeners. But first, I just wanted to say, I'm so shocked that no one decided to pick cleaning during cabin time. I mean, come on. You're going to clean if you didn't clean your cabin in the morning, and you got to clean for those extra points. Me and my campers know that we loved cleaning for those extra points so we can get that ice cream party. All right, without any further ado, this is what you guys voted for. In first place, with 71 votes, we had having a conversation, great one. 52 people voted for number 2, napping, another excellent choice. And in third, we had some porch chillage with 50 votes. And lastly, to round out the list, 34 votes for dressing up for evening program. Thank you guys for voting. Make sure to stay tuned for next week to vote for next week's poll. Back to you, Alex.
And now, if you guys have some honorable mentions that you want to shout out, we can definitely do that. Who wants to go first?
I'd be happy to. Again, I'm speaking for the girls when I say this, but I don't think there was ever a year as a camper or a session as a counselor where a shaving party was not essential. And I know maybe you guys, I don't know if you guys had shaving your mustache parties.
I've never been to one of those, actually. I've never been one.
Sunday nights.
Missing out.
It was a big thing. We all got a big bucket and we would all just sit out there, and I know it sounds so silly, but we just sit out there and shave our legs. In fact, fun fact, the first time I ever shaved my legs was at camp.
Oh, wow.
Amazing.
What
Shout
a great cabin time. Cabin time activities.
Okay, it's kind of like, I don't know, you guys sit out on the porch and hang out. We just sit outside on the porch and shave and hang out.
a little different. Just a little bit.
I know that every female listening to this podcast will relate.
Oh, 100%.
Awesome.
Honestly, talk to any girl that has done that, and it will be one of their favorite things to talk about for camp.
Of course, I do remember hearing a lot about it. As a boy camper, hearing from my sister cabin that they would do that. But
Oh, it was so fun.
cool. Okay. Any other honorable mentions we wanted to shout out before we finish up the episode?
I'll do mine. Mine is playing tag. With my 9-year-olds, I probably worked out the most that session because I constantly, like, if you're in the chalet, the real chalet, I was constantly just running around the building, like both inside and outside, while the girls were playing tag. And most of the time they were trying to tag me, but it was just like constant circles. So I got in a lot of running that time, but it was so fun.
Yeah. And tag, it's not like you need any of the quote unquote toys that we were talking about. Tag, all you need is a group of people and you're good to go. So,
Exactly.
great cabin time activity. Oh, and did you have one?
I actually did, yeah. My honorable mention is going to have to be like games. So I guess that's kind of like a general way to say it, but there's like two specific ones that I kind of had in mind. The first one was Codenames. Super fun game. I know Eli brought it this past summer when I was next door to him, and we played a bunch with his boys and my boys.
Again,
just had a blast.
Yeah,
I
the
know.
toys. We come
Big
prepared.
toys guy. And then my other game that I was thinking of was Contact, which I played a bunch with my Session 1 boys. If you guys don't know, it's kind of like a riddle-ish kind of game. I guess it's more like a guessing game, but it's super fun. You don't need a toy for that. That's like a mind game, and you can pretty much play it anywhere. So it was fun.
I can never figure that game out. I've been explained that game probably 5 times. And, like, I've watched it happen. I cannot figure it out.
Yeah, that's the thing about some of these games that we play at camp. Like Mafia's probably like maybe somewhere in between like easy and hard. It's not too hard to pick up once you play a couple of times. You can get the hang of it. But some of these other games that I've played, it's so creative and so very just complicated sometimes. Of course, when you do figure it out, it's a lot of fun. But yeah, it does take a long time sometimes to get the hang of those games.
A lot of my friends from home like get angry with me because I know like the riddles in the games, and so they'll like find it and then try them on me, and I always know what's happening.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what camp does. Your camp counselor, you know all the tricks. Like, all of them. Okay, well that's gonna do it for today. That was a great episode, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming. This was great. It was great having you guys.
Thank you. Love being here.
For having us. So good to have TACO or taco.
What? What's taco?
Because Taylor, Alex, Kat, and Owen.
Oh,
we are
wow.
team taco.
I love that.
Team taco. Wait, I had a taco today for lunch.
And I had tacos 2 days ago. Tuesday. I had Taco Tuesday.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. Okay, so we're going to be signing off from the Taco Crew. As always, remember to tune in for virtual camp every night at 9 p.m. We do evening prayers with our head counselors, Eli and Diana. And we are really chugging along here. We're coming to the end of the summer, to the final of the 8 weeks of camp. So definitely we're still coming in hot with a lot of good content. And thank you all for tuning in. Have a good one.
Stay hungry.